All right, I think we can proceed. Archimedes, are you here? Are you here?
Yep. Very sorry.
Oh, all right, perfect. So we're gonna start. So for that, hi everyone. My name is Angga. I'll be your chair for this round. So before we start, I would like to let my panel to introduce themselves. I would like to start from Adya.
Hi everyone, Adya pronounced she and her. Congratulations on making it this far. Good luck for the round.
Hi, Archimedes speaking. Good luck.
All right, thank you so much for my beloved panel. So good luck for both of the team. Before that, I just want to give a housekeeping rules before we start the debate. So the first thing is I would like to highly encourage for state your PI preference before you start your speech, whether it's come from the mute or maybe from the chat. Let us know. And the second part is about the time management. Please don't go over time. So once again, even though it's a semi-final, I would like to highly remind you that the first and the third speaker is going to be 4 minute speech and the reply will be 2 minute speech. All right, without further ado, I'd like to welcome Prime Minister to open the debate. Here. Prime Minister, HDN, whenever you're ready.
I have to arrange some of my notes, please. My speech will start in 3, 2, 1. Afternoon, judges and opponents. Today, I am going to debate the motion. This House believes that developing the democratic states should only allow citizens who pass of political awareness to vote. Now, I'm going to start with characterization and definitions. So in simple terms, this motion means that in countries that follow democratic principles, only people who demonstrate a basic understanding of politics should be allowed to vote. In other words, citizens will need to pass a test or show that they have some knowledge about politics about before participating in elections. Developing democratic states are countries that are in the process of building and strengthening their democratic systems. These nations are often transitioning from a controlled or non-democratic form of governance towards more inclusive, participatory, and accountable political structures. Developing doesn't necessarily imply economic development, but rather the evolution of political institutions and practices associated with democracy. The process involves establishing or improving key democratic features such as free and fair elections, protection of individual rights, rule of law, and government accountability. Now, our mechanism of policy. We will push education to rural areas so that they also have the right to vote. These education are very important, as I'm going to elaborate on that. Now, in status quo, uninformed citizens are able to vote. These uninformed decisions can be easily manipulated. Our burden is to prove that mandating passing of political awareness test is crucial for the democracy. This is a very huge problem that exists on both sides, but I'll prove why our side is will get rid of this problem. This brings me to my first argument, which is informed decision making. Requiring citizens to pass a political awareness test ensures that voters have a basic understanding of political issues and the consequences of their choices. This promotes a more informed decision making during elections. Making people take a test before they vote is really important for helping them make good decisions in a democracy. When we make this test necessary, we encourage people to learn the basics about political issues and what might happen based on their choices. This helps stop people from voting without knowing much. It means that everyone who votes should at least know a bit about what they're deciding. This way, we end up with voters who are careful and know more about what they want for the country. Requiring these tests makes sure that elections have better decision making, and it helps create a group of voters who are more informed and involved in making decisions for the country. Implementing a political awareness test helps prevent uninformed voting, where individuals might cast votes without understanding of the issues of candidates. This could lead to a more thoughtful and meaningful participation in the democratic process. Allowing uneducated individuals to vote causes risk of a democratic society. And informed voting may lead to decisions based on limited knowledge, resulting in policies or leaders not in the nation's best interest. The uneducated voters are more susceptible to manipulation and may contribute to the rise of populist movements, weakening logical discussions. This compromises the democratic principle that rely on an informed and engaged electorate. Additionally, uninformed voting can hinder effective governance, reduce accountability, contribute to a social division, and impact economic policies negatively. To address these challenges, promoting education and political awareness becomes crucial to ensure well-informed choices that benefits the entire community. In contrast, an informed voter ensures a more thoughtful decision, aligning policies and leaders with the nation's best interests. Informed voters are ac- informed voters actively participate in the democratic process, fostering engagement, accountability, and social cohesion. Emphasizing education and political awareness becomes crucial for a thriving democracy where well-informed choices lead to effective governments and shared prosperity for the entire community. In developing democracies, where democratic systems are relatively new and not firmly established, there exists a vulnerability that can be exploited. Citizens may not be accustomed to working of a robust democracy, making them susceptible to manipulation by cunning leaders, particularly dictators who employ propaganda to sway public opinion. In these early stages, democratic institutions may not be adequately entrenched, and once a problematic leader like a dictator gains control, it becomes challenging to root out of issues. An example is evident in Sudan, where successive military coups occurred as citizens were exploited by dictators who demonetize the existing governments only to bring about worse conditions to themselves. The lack of a well-established democratic foundation allowed for the formation of population, resulting in a cycle of political instability. To address this vulnerability and ensure the citizens engage in an informed voting, the proposition of a political awareness test becomes crucial. This test acts as a protective measure, helping to mitigate the risk of exploitation by ensuring that voters possess a basic understanding of political issues and potential consequences. In developing democracies where democratic culture is still taking root, such a test can contribute to building a more informed and resilient voter, safeguarding against the manipulation and exploitation that can be threatened stability and progress of this evolving democratic system. Thank you.
Right, thank you so much for the first speaker. Just for a reminder, the speech over than 4 minutes 15 seconds not going to be counted. So please keep your time management through your devices. I'd like to give a preparation time for first speaker oppositions. Your preparation time starts now.
I'll take POI verbally in my speech. Pronounce her, and my speech will start now. So what proposition tend to claim is very simple. What proposition is doing on their side, they are denying the opportunity for poor people who have lack of education to participate in voting if they fail to pass the politic awareness exams. Secondly, they are giving more privileges to the rich who get power when majority is not able to be presented because not passing the exam is equal to not voting during election. This is not the world opposition want to happen. In our side of the house, we believe that the spirit of democracy is served when, regardless of educational background, intelligence, and a status in life, everyone has the basic right to participate in democracy and election, where voting is the best representative of democracy. Firstly, engaging with the prime minister, making better decisions. Who can be sure that they would do it according to their knowledge, 100%, or just bias? Their knowledge are just basic knowledge that simply knowing that what is happening around. In my speech, I'll be presenting our policy. I'll be presenting our policy and one of our argument. Our second speaker will continue to explain our argument. Our third speaker will whip and compare. Our policy in this motion in believing that the restricting voting rights is only those who has a political awareness exam is not the best way to promote political awareness. We claim that that people who doesn't even pass the exam will obviously choose what they think is the best for them in their own situation. What are they experiencing? These are votes that can truly affect people's life based on what they're already experiencing, making these voters vulnerable about making these votes valuable too. The first of our policy is that we increase education. By this, we do not mean that we teach politics in school, but we encourage younger generation and even adults to know what's happening about rejected, to understand what is happening around us, and encourage them to know more about news and politics. Secondly, a public awareness campaign. We propose that the government launch public awareness campaigns to promote political awareness. These campaigns should be designed to reach a wide audience and should be use a variety of media such as television, radio, and social media. We believe that all citizens have the right to participate in the democratic process, regardless of their level of political awareness. Therefore, we propose that voting rights should not be restricted to only those who pass an exam. Instead, we should focus on promoting political awareness through education and public awareness campaigns, while ensuring that all citizens have the right to participate in the democratic process. How proposition will lose is that restricting voting rights to only those who pass exam is ineffective. The exam may not be an effective way to promote political awareness. There are other ways to promote political awareness, such as education and public awareness campaign, that may be more effective. The exam is only basic knowledge, meaning that even with it, it isn't so impactful. It's on a general viewpoint of what happens in our city. Therefore, we believe opposition take the case. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much for the first speaker of opposition. I'd like to give the preparation time for the second speaker of government. The preparation time starts now.
Can I have 45 seconds to sort out my notes? Thank you.
Second speaker whenever you're ready.
Um, my speech will start in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Chair, it is incredibly absurd for opposition to not believe that developing democratic states should only allow citizens who pass a political awareness exam to vote. Proud to propose. Now I'd like to move on to my rebuttals. Opposition stated that we are discriminating poor people. Hello, our mechanism says that we are pushing education to rural areas so that they also have the right to vote. Next, opposition also says that citizens have the right to vote because the decisions are affecting their lives. However, would you rather let them make uninformed decisions that are easily manipulated? Obviously, our side is better because we ensure that every single vote is informed and fair because an uninformed vote is not a vote at all. Now, moving on to my first point on strengthening democracy. The goal to strengthen democracy by ensuring that voters are well informed and actively participating in political process can lead to a more sturdy and effective democratic system that reflects the collective will of an informed community. The pursuit of strengthening democracy depends on ensuring that voters are both well informed and actively engaged in the political process. When citizens have a solid understanding of political issues and actively participate in elections, it protects the democratic system. And this collective engagement reflects the informed will of the community, contributing to a more sturdy and effective democracy. And and next, an informed nation serves as a cornerstone for a resilient democratic structure, fostering a political environment where the voice of the people is both informed and influential in shaping the nation's directions. For example, consider the case of South Korea's voters in the late 20th century. As citizens became more informed and engaged, demanding democratic changes, the country witnessed a transformation from a lackluster democracy to a thriving democracy. And the informed voters played an important played an im- sorry and the informed voters played an important role in shaping the democratic landscape, illustrating how well informed and actively involved citizens can bring about positive democratic change, leading to a more resilient and representative political system. Now, I'd like to move on to my second point on ensuring equal participation, requiring a political awareness that ensures that all voters, regardless of their background, has a basic understanding of the political system. And this helps promote more equal and fair participation in the democratic process, making everyone take a political awareness test no matter where they come from. It's about making sure everyone understands the political system, and this helps everyone, regardless of their background, to an equal and a fair chance to participate in the democratic process. And by doing this, we ensure that everyone, no matter their education or background, can have a say in how our country is run. And it's about making democracy more fair and giving everyone an equal opportunity to be part of the decision making process. For example, consider a scenario where a country implements a political awareness test for all citizens before voting. In this example, imagine a diverse nation with many varieties of educational backgrounds and socio-economic statuses. The political awareness test ensures that everyone, regardless of their background, has to demonstrate a basic understanding of political systems. And in real life content, the goal is to ensure equal and fair participations. For instance, citizens from different educational levels and socio-economic backgrounds will need to meet the same minimum criteria of political awareness, and this ensures that the democratic process is more inclusive, preventing certain groups from being disadvantaged due to limited access to education or resources. And the implementation of such a system contributes to a more level playing field where all citizens, regardless of their circumstances, can equally engage in shaping the country's political landscape. In conclusion, our discussion highlights that democracy works best when people know about politics and take part in the decisions. We also explore the idea of a test to make sure voters are informed, especially in new democracies. But we also consider the importance of not excluding uneducated individuals, focusing on fairness and preventing misuse. The key takeaway is that democracy's strength comes from having informed citizens who actively participate. Striking a balance between promoting awareness and ensuring inclusivity is crucial for a healthy democracy. Ultimately, the aim is to create a system where every person, no matter their background, can play a part in deciding the country's direction. Proud to propose. Thank you.
Thank you so much for speaking on governance at the house. Once again, please um, be aware for your time. And because we're going to be over the time that we give it, we're not going to take notes after the 4 minutes, seconds. So I'd like to give preparation time for the second speaker of oppositions. Your preparation time starts now.
Um, I'll start right now if that's possible.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so my POI preferences are verbal, and wait, let me just do this. Okay. My speech will start in three, two, and one. The problem in this debate is with the unfair world that prompt side is bringing to the debate. So panel ops goal is to prove in the debate how illegitimate that prompt side is being. So panel, in my speech, I'll prove to you two things: why cases has lost and why our side is better. Firstly, let's go to my rebuttals. They have said that these voters have to know at least a little to take the test and be aware of politics. However, the exam here, it is standardized, and who is going to test them in the first place? You need to clarify this in your speech. And secondly, what political awareness test do they have? If the test is so simple here, they're wasting their time taking the test. Most especially, we already have TV, already have social media to tell us about what is happening in our country, what is happening in our world nowadays. The motion doesn't say about lack of resources. So the conclusion here is that the conclusion here is that props argument, if their plan is to have a test with only a little knowledge, like they said, it is not important and it brings no substantial value to the debate. Secondly, they have mentioned about pushing education to rural areas. But what prop is streaming is not going to happen. Because why? They haven't even fixed the problems in the status quo, such as malnutrition, hunger, poverty, abuses to women, and many more. And the classrooms are not even established well here. This debate is not for the new generation, but the majority of voters here, they're quite elderly, from about 38 years old to 70 years old. They're not children. And for adults, learning a new thing, learning more education, it is very hard for them. Next, I will move on to my first argument. My argument here is that poor countries, which are developing countries, no thank you, have poor education and that the poor can access them. Now, let's compare both sides from the rich and the poor. So the rich here, they have more advantages. They have more exposure to politics, they can afford better education, and they can afford televisions and online newspapers. The accessibility to them is more higher than the poor. Wherever, when we look at the poor, we can understand that they have less exposure to politics and they do not have as good education. And if we listen to affirmative, and if the panel gives this debate to affirmative, the poor will have another disadvantage, which is limited representation. The conclusion that we can give here is that political awareness exams will only give leverage to one stakeholder, and that is the rich. When things are worked out in the affirmative way, it does not represent the majority of country, but merely those who are rich and not those who are poor. The impact here is that it disadvantages the poor. And how does this affect them? Because it matters. Because the matters of the country it affects them. No, thank you. So this is basically just an advantage for rich if we listen to the affirmative, and it is a disadvantage too. In Ops principle, political awareness results, it does not represent a just society. It does not represent a just democracy. It represents a biased society. Elections here, it should not be discriminating because A, it undermines the principle of diplomacy, which is inequalities. B, it representation where in diverse perspectives, one, the rich only vote the benefits that benefit them and not the poor. So the poor will be disadvantaged here. The poor are not included here. So their mistreatment implemented into the status quo. And C is unbiasedness, which is public trust is no more. And they are more disengaged from the status quo day by day. So the conclusion that we would give here is that such policy, it denies the underprivileged people to participate in the democratic process. And let's give an emphasis on the poor educational system and the system of voting here. In the status quo, we should allow a test for all. We should allow a political test for all. Let me repeat this again. We should let the people have an active citizenship in the country, and they should have informed decision making. Because after all, the matters of the country, it affects them because they are the stakeholder. Thank you.
Alright, thank you so much for the second speaker of students in the house. Now let's give preparation time for the third speaker of government. Your preparation time starts now. Preparation time is done, so I'd like to welcome the third speaker of government. You're here.
Okay. Mm. My speech will start in 3, 2, 1. Before I start my speech, I would like to preface that our test is to make sure that voters have a decent understanding of economic policy, to understand the tactics politicians use to manipulate the voters, and so that the voters can understand the basic role of the government. Before I get into the summarization and clashes, I would like to start my rebuttals. Number one, they continuously say that the test is useless because they only test basic knowledge. To that, I say two things. One, wouldn't our side still be better than your side, even though it is only basic knowledge? Because your side doesn't make sure that they even have a little bit of knowledge. You only say that, oh, they have a freedom of speech so they can vote. Our side makes sure that only the people who at least have basic knowledge will be able to vote because they can make informed decision. So with that, you're just shooting yourself in the foot because the basic knowledge is better than none at all, which is at your side. Number two, no one said that the test only tests basic knowledge. The test role is to ensure that the people that are voting have enough information to vote fairly without any manipulation, which is the cornerstone of a fair democracy. Also, how does your side benefit poor people more? You keep saying that, oh, we discriminate the poor, right? And oh, poor cannot vote because of our system. But how does your side benefit poor people more? Obviously, a government like yours with a bad democracy that with voters that make uninformed decisions, which is a bad democracy, will disadvantage the poor people even more. So I don't know why you're saying that. That's completely an invalid point. Number two, they also said that citizens have the right to vote because the decisions they make will affect their own lives. Apologies. They said that, okay, however, would you rather them make uninformed decisions that are easily manipulated? You are currently saying that because of their right of freedom of speech, they have the right to make uninformed decisions because they have and even though they have no information about the topic they're voting on, they have to vote. Because obviously a vote that has no information behind it is not even a vote. You're just randomly choosing between which one is the most attractive to you without any prior information. Obviously, our side is better because we ensure that every single vote is informed and fair. Because like I said, and uninformed vote is not a vote at all, and our side promotes a fair democracy. Number two, they also continuously say that we are discriminating from poor people and we disallow them to vote. Firstly, my mechanism states that we are pushing education to rural areas so that they also have the right to vote. Our test gives people the incentive to learn the information on what is happening in the political landscape in status quo. They have to pass the test in order to vote, so they must learn the information to pass the test in order for them to vote for their favorite political party. That's how it works. We give them motivation to study about the political landscape, and we give them incentive to be informed before making the vote. Your side just says that, oh, they are freedom of speech, that's good enough. Just make them vote without ever thinking if it's fair or not. With that, I would like to state that I would like to repeat that an uninformed vote might as well not be a vote, because that basically sums up the entire argument on opposition side. They say that freedom of speech is more important than a fair democracy. So that's our clash here, right? Freedom of speech and representation versus a fair democracy. Let me tell you why we win this clash. Because democracy is very important, right? It is the act of making the decision for our country. We cannot just let random people without information ever make uninformed decisions. Your freedom of speech and representation is not important here, because we value democracy to make decisions that benefit the most people. And the best way to do it is with informed votes. With informed votes, they can make informed decisions, and then we can get good discussions and then come to good solutions. That's how a fair democracy works. Your freedom of speech is just a bunch of uninformed people shouting their opinions without ever knowing what is happening around them. What are they voting for? They're just voting for what they think is correct, and without any prior information, and it can easily be manipulated. With that, I rest my case. Thank you.
Right, thank you so much for the third speaker of governments at the House. Now to give preparation time for the third speaker of opposition. Your preparation time starts now.
I'll start now.
Whenever you're ready.
Thank you. So my speech will start in 3, 2, 1. Ladies and gentlemen, esteemed judges, fellow debaters, my name is Anika. As the third speaker of the opposition, my speech is divided into 3 parts. Firstly, I'm going to engage with couples of rebuttals. Secondly, I'm going to repeat my team's argument and why is their team not as good as ours, and why is the world that we have provided is better. Lastly, I'm going to compare both sides of the world. Let's start with the couples of rebuttals. The other team is trying to prove to us that they have equal and more fair in our world than what our world, and actually they are better. Panel. Proposition is actually replaying history in a different way. How can they be so sure that these people who pass these tests choose the necessary choice if it is already predictable of which choice that they will choose? Then there is not point in voting, and there is none such point in voting that is actually so important. We need to fight thousands of years doing just for voting, and this is losing all of their point and meaning. We're not letting random people, we're actually letting our own citizens vote based on their true environment. Don't let the other team try to prove to us that they would have a better democracy landscape and the world would be fairer and the others. So if you guys are fairer, why are we still here? We believe that all citizens have the right to participate in the democratic process, regardless of their level of political awareness. Therefore, we propose that voting rights should not be restricted to only those who pass an exam. And actually, you guys are trying to prove to us that you guys are so fair, you guys are better, equal. The exam may, how are you so sure that the exam is actually fair? The exam may not be a fair measure of political awareness. It may be biases towards certain political ideologies rejected, or may not accurately reflect the views of all citizens. Why are you guys so sure? How are you guys so sure that if those who voting that pass the exams choose the necessary choices or based on bias? Nobody can be so sure. Okay, so not only that, you guys also trying to prove to us that it will help improve your democracy. You can have strengthened democracy that is better informed to the people. And not only that, you guys will be better in democracy. Not only those political tests are that good to the policy. I mean, that's good to the democracy. The democratic society have education, have public awareness campaigns, and have the fairness. The other team is trying to prove to us that their democratic place is having a little amount of education, but mostly it's political. And not only that, you guys are trying to prove to us that their democratic society is definitely unfair. So let us tell you this: we believe that education is the key to promoting political awareness. Well, therefore, we propose that the government invest in education programs that teach citizens about their rights and responsibilities as voters. These should be rejected, should be accessible to all citizens, regardless of their level or education or income. Or like the other team. But in the other team, their education is that if they pass those tests, they can vote. But if they don't, they will out. So is that any meaning in voting when people born out voting for people? Every single people have their own point of view, and every single people have their own opinion of voting. So because of this,
You are.
rejected. Oh, it's it's a protected times. So in the end, I would like to compare both sides. Our world is a world where society is where the democratic society is fairer, and also a place where there are public awareness campaigns and also a better education than the other world as trying to proven to us. Thank you. I rest my case.
Right, thank you so much for the third speaker of opposition. Now let to give preparation time for the reply speaker of opposition. Your preparation time starts now.
Hi, am I audible?
Yes, you're audible.
Okay, that's good. So my reply speech will start in 3, 2, and 1. So greetings, judges and debaters. I am Steve, and I'm the reply speaker of the negative side. So in this debate, we have seen that proposition is not being realistic. They have mentioned a lot of things in which we successfully rebutted, and there are 3 reasons why our team should win this debate. Firstly, we have provided to you sufficient arguments or reasons to prove why the debate should fall in our side. And what are those arguments? A. Poor countries, which are developed countries, have poor education that the poor cannot access the most. Next, we were able to give numerous examples to explain how these arguments work. And we also gave examples that were successfully implemented in real life scenarios and cases. We have also proven the importance of our arguments throughout the debate, and we have also proven how our arguments affect the most important stakeholder or actor in the debate, according to the second speaker, micro and macro level. In the second level, we were able to rebut the arguments of the opposing team. We told you that their arguments are not true. So, firstly, we need to mention that the first speaker he mentioned that they would push education to rural areas. But we rebutted that what Prop is dreaming is not going to happen because in the status quo, communities and the world's leaders and world organizations, they haven't even fixed problems in the status quo, such as malnutrition, hunger, or even things that are very unfair, such as abuse to women, and many more. The classrooms are not even established well, and that this debate is not for the new generation. These rebuttals are important in the debate because they show how there is no standing value on the opposing side, and this only proves that we should win the debate because our team is responsive and the most engaging in firstly putting POIs, arguments, and rebuttals. On the third layer, we have fulfilled our roles in the debate. Aside from all the arguments and rebuttals, we were able to defend to the fullest extent what the motion is all about. We were able to rebut our arguments and prove to you that the rebuttals of the other team, they are not important. And we were able to explain the relevance of our examples. Yet we never heard any substantial engagement and the importance of the points we made. But we never heard anything that rebutted this. We never heard any engagement from the other side. So we were able to solve the problems of this debate. Moreover, we achieved the goal of this debate. Therefore, we should win this debate. So, panel, if you want a side that is unrealistic, a side is only dreaming, and a side that is not has a plan that is not good enough to put into action, then you can choose them over us because they don't deserve the win. We do because we are realistic, we are proud of our arguments, and we believe that we should take this debate in favor of them. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much for opposition reply speaker. Now I'd like to give preparation time for the government reply speaker. The preparation time starts now.
Right. My speech will start in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Ladies and gentlemen, members of the floor, we as a government strongly believe that we have conquered this debate because whatever opposition brings up is just a fallacy. Proud to propose. Chair, opposition continuously brings up incorrect facts, for example, saying that we are discriminating poor people. Once again, hello, we already stated in our mechanism that we are pushing education to rural areas so that they also have the rights to vote. Next, Ops' entire case also makes uninformed decisions that are easily manipulated, and this makes our side the more superior side because we actually ensure that every single vote is informed and fair because an uninformed vote is not a vote at all. Furthermore, they give a lot of one liners because they never elaborate anything they are trying to say. For example, they give rebuttals without any explanation. Besides that, opposition was nitpicking throughout the entire debate. For example, asking us who is going to test instead of debating the whole point of the test. And they only want to debate about the pointless things like who is going to test without actually debating with us whether this test would guarantee a better political scheme, hence we claim unique benefits that they never mechanized. In summary, our discussion highlights that democracy works best when people know about politics and take part in the decisions. We also explore the idea of tests to make sure voters are informed, especially in new democracies. But we also consider the importance of not excluding uneducated individuals, focusing on fairness and preventing misuse. The key takeaway is that democracies strength comes from having informed citizens who actively participate. Striking a balance between promoting awareness and ensuring inclusivity is crucial for a healthy democracy. Ultimately, the aim is to create a system where every person, no matter their background, can play a part in deciding the country's direction. Proud to propose. Thank you.
Right. Thank you so much for government reply speaker. And that's the end of the debate. Thank you so much, everyone. Since this is silent round,